Good morning. Good morning, Nathan.
Good morning.
Uh, it is Inauguration Day, 2021, January 20th. First episode of the Battery Gang Boys show. I'm Garrett Vassell. This is Nathan Tong. How do you pronounce your last name?
Tontat.
Tontat.
Yes.
Double Tontat. But Nathan is here for the very first episode for a very important reason, because Nathan is essentially the inspiration, or one of the many inspirations behind Battery Gang Boys, behind literally everything that I'm trying to do right now, which is creating men, or I guess encouraging men, young men, to change for the God that they serve, not the particularly women on earth that they are trying to lay with. So that is, as simple as I can put it, the message. And that is that's what we're going to do. So it's a matter of how we do that. And Nathan here just, had a vision of a man with white hair going about and espousing this message, which is we need to get back to the basics. We need men to be men, especially right now. We live in a very effeminate culture, as we've talked about many times, Nathan. And we need to, I guess, encourage men to step up. There's so much rhetoric about toxic masculinity, and, so much gets said about, oh, boys being boys, that's unacceptable. Well, boys and girls are different. So, just you have to approach them differently. And right now, as a society, we try to put everyone in one box. So yeah, that's the long and short end of what we're trying to do, big picture wise. Right now, though, we've got a show to do, and we've got to get the message out, which is, well, the long-term goal for you, Nathan, is you want Michelangelo to be canonized as a saint. So go into that a little bit. What inspired you to, I guess, before we get into exactly what it is, your project, the Michelangelo project and everything, before we get into that, what, I guess, inspired you to want to pursue this? Or what has God put in your brain and on your heart to want to get this message out so bad that you talk about it all the time?
Well, first, it's an honor to have me on your first episode. It's a great honor, and you and I have been working together for a while now. So let's get straight to it. So bottom line is this: what you just said.
Let's cut to the chase.
Cut to the chase. Bottom line is this: I had a vision, a dream, where I saw Michelangelo in his painting of the creation of Adam, which is, I think, in the background. So in the painting, if you look closely, just to refresh, this painting was painted, I think it was done in 1512. So roughly more than 500 years ago. And it's considered probably one of the greatest painting in Western civilization, in the world, in fact. Anyway, so for 500 years.
Well, go back to your let's start from the very beginning. So let's start with your vision. What happened to get you to start really, really caring about this painting?
Okay, so in the vision, I saw Michelangelo dressed in white. He had a saint-like look overall, and he was trying to paint this painting, and I saw that the actual, if you see the background of God, there's 12 figures, and they look like they're angels or little angels, but in reality, as Michelangelo was painting it, it started out like a brain. And those figures were not actually figures from the beginning. It looked like more like brain matters. And as he progressed, they turned into 12 parts of the brain. And then those 12 parts eventually turn into figures. and they look like human figures. And in the middle, you can see God and what looked like a female figure. And of course, they're all naked. And when I woke up, I tried to look this up, and I found out that there was a doctor back in 1996, I believe, or 96. His name was Dr. Masburger from Indiana. And he was the first one to point out the cape behind God is not really a cape, but it's an actual brain or anatomy of a brain. So he was, as a doctor, he was the first out to notice that the cape was actually a representation of the brain. So I realized, hey, overall, he was the first one to come up with this. But then,
so this is no longer God. This is no longer, just a painting of God sitting on some sort of weird looking couch with angels behind, or it's now a representation of, whether it's God's mind, whether it's our mind, in some way, shape, or form. Though that's a brain behind God. And Michelangelo, who studied the brain anatomy, all that stuff, dissected brains all the time. Like he's a creative guy. He obviously is going to incorporate, the things that he enjoys on the side with the art that he's creating. And, God touches people in different ways, and God obviously struck him with, this idea to paint the painting in the way that he did. And so
my conclusion is that Michelangelo was a devout Catholic. He was a firm believer in God, despite the fact that he had flaws, like human flaws, like we all do. And there's rumors that he was a homosexual. Whether that's true or not does not really matter. But flaws he did have. But at the end, towards the end, throughout his life, he was a believer in God. He was a devout Catholic. As he was painting the Sistine Chapel, he read the Bible over and over and over and over again in order to create these marvelous paintings. Remember, in order to paint something, you have to form an idea. So the creation of, first, before you start to paint anything, but anyway, the creation of Adam is one of 9, I believe, paintings detailing the book of Genesis. So let's get back to the creation of Adam. If you look at God, he is flying towards Adam. He's trying to reach Adam. So behind, we have concluded that the cape represented the brain, and the 12 figures are actually the 12 parts of the brain that I detail. I don't know if you have that detail.
No, so we can link can put a link in the description at the end of the video and all that to the to all of your documents and everything that you've written on this. But I want to, so because we have all of that and we already have that done, I want to, I want to keep diving into, what the painting is saying and everything, because I think that's super important. We've, as many times as we've had this conversation, I still think that it's beneficial, and I still get a lot out of every single time we talk about it, because it's just new things that I haven't thought of before. But what are, just to, I guess, cut to the chase a little bit, what do we need to do? Obviously, we need to get this message out that, God is trying to, just for the sake of time, God wants to give us free will, correct? Yes. God is wanting to, free will isn't free. It's one of those things that you've got to fight for. And especially because it's God-given. It's not man-given. Man is constantly trying to take away freedom. Man is constantly trying to put rulers and kings and everything in your way to, I guess, somehow, cause some sort of distraction or just get in the way of you serving God. It's, it could be super simple, but,
So
Beams chiming
we
in.
went through this the last video, so we're not going to go through the details of how I came to the conclusion that in the painting, God was given Adam free will. So free will, remember before he created Adam and Eve, once he created Adam and Eve, he gave them a covenant, which is a written covenant that they shall not touch, what is it, the tree of knowledge.
You shall not eat from the tree of knowledge, the fruit from the tree of
Yes.
knowledge, which that's what God told. So in the order of Genesis, God told Adam that. God didn't tell Eve because God made Adam, and then from Adam came Eve. It was up to Adam to instruct Eve on what God had said. The issue is he didn't.
So in order for someone to tell you to do something, first you have to give them free will. Correct?
Yeah.
So this painting is about Michelangelo depicting God struggling within himself. That's what the brain tells him, or it depicts that he was struggling whether to give Adam free will or not, which eventually he did. Free will, Adam or mankind was able to choose to do evil or reject God or to do anything, but also to choose to do the right thing. So flash forward, we are at a moment where America is losing our freedom. And to me, only free people can have free will. Think about that.
Well, how free? I mean, we say I understand that. We're having worked in politics for, an unhealthy amount of time. We say that America is the last free country, which there's a lot of truth. There's some truth to that. But the reality is, we still are under a lot of control. We still have a lot of rules and regulations. We aren't inherently a free society any more than most developed nations are, to be quite frank. So I understand the calls for urgency right now, especially with the political climate the way it is and the media constantly gaslighting people. But the truth is, we aren't really much. I mean, we are less and less free now than we were 20, 30, 40 years ago. Slowly but surely losing we're losing the rights to conduct business and operate in the way that we want to do. We are literally being told that we have to, for better or worse, we have to serve customers and clients no matter what they want. There really is no choice on our end. If you operate a business, then you don't have freedom. It's really that simple. There are rules. So to say that we need, free will only exists in a free society, we don't really have that. We still have a whole bunch of rules that we have to follow. It's nice to say that we live in a free society, but we're slowly, it's slipping away. So what do we need to do to maintain that? What do we need to do to make sure that we don't become the kind of country where, churches are having to operate? Oh man, it sounds terrible to say. Churches are having to operate underground, but they are right now. We're already there. So what needs to be done to combat this? You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's get to the basic. First, the Constitution allows us freedom of speech, the First Amendment. Freedom of religion, remember. Do we still have freedom of religion?
Mm-hmm.
And I would stand up
absolutely
for any religion, not just Christianity.
Well, if they're doing human sacrifices, I'm like, I'm kind of glad that the Aztecs and the Mayans had it coming, but
yeah, that's against the law. But I'm saying that freedom of religion is the fundamental of the foundation of this country. Freedom of speech. We're losing both. We are losing it slowly. But who's losing it? The question is, who is losing it?
We're just looking
I think conservatives are being censored more than any other group.
Well, okay, so a big problem with that, I agree. big tech is censoring conservatives. A lot of that though comes from conservatives wanting to play on the field that somebody else built. So you've got, the Zuckerbergs and the Dorseys of the world that, create these giant platforms for people to, it's basically the new radio and the new television, people to reach huge audiences. They have this. And we, as conservatives, we feel like we are entitled to their services when, again, we literally just were talking about freedom of businesses to operate. Why then is it, why is there an expectation that these businesses should operate the way we want when nothing else goes the way we want? You know what I'm saying? The solution really is to create our own platforms, really create our own everything. But there's a laziness aspect to it. There's a whole lot of effort and a whole lot of money that takes to do, or that it takes to do that very thing. And a lot of people don't want to put their money where their mouth is. A lot of people just want to blast on Twitter and blast on, just go off on their emails and text their buddies and stuff. Oh, the world's falling apart, but very few people put their money where their mouth is.
Well, I agree. I mean, I've discussed this with other groups, and that has been brought up, which is, why aren't there conservative billionaires and millionaires or billionaires that can create their own platforms where they don't have to go where conservative can go to, instead of going to Facebook or Google or
that's the problem.
Other platforms.
Yeah, well, that's one of the big problems right there, is these people are waiting on billionaires to do it. These billionaires already have the money. The millionaires and they already have millions of dollars. They're already successful. They don't need to create some sort of platform. Mark Zuckerberg, created Facebook probably stole a bunch of intellectual property and stuff, but made it while he was in college. These websites and these startups, these companies that end up blowing up, they get started in basements and garages and stuff like that. They don't get started by billionaires. We have this laziness factor, particularly from conservatives, it's all conservatives. It's not old and young. The old pass it on to the young, to where the young feel like, oh man, nothing ever goes our way. Well, we're going to keep voting for the same old people and nothing's ever going to change. We're going to have hearings, and nothing's ever going to get done. I don't want to do politics anymore. Like, the reason I wanted to start this was to get out of politics completely. But like, we have this complete apathy on the right, and this just like, oh, the world just hates conservatives, and if we do something about it, then we don't get to bitch about it. That's what it seems like. It seems like, well, we could fix it, but if we fix it, then we don't get to complain about it.
Well, that's you're exactly right. The outcries, because we've been complacent for decades, and we wait until something like this happen, when they totally censor, conservative on all the platforms, and then the outcries are pouring in.
Yeah. Like, people are owed something. Like, oh, wow, I can't believe Facebook or Twitter would kick off Donald Trump. Like, that's ridiculous. They're still using Twitter. They're still using social media, but they're going to complain about it, but they're still going to use it. So you've got to pick one.
But don't you think
you don't have to?
Don't you think that a lot of people knew this? They knew that this is going to happen.
I think that they had a good idea of it. You have a lot of those, QAnon, pardon my language. You have a lot of those QAnon idiots though out there thinking that, there's some plan in place where, Trump has all these sealed indictments, and
QAnon is the
people are putting their faith in things that, aren't real. I mean, whether or not it's a psyop or whatever, people are putting their faith in things that aren't God, and then they turn around and question God, or they turn around and wonder, oh, why is the world falling apart? There's literally people trying to get the message out that, hey, we need to take a stand. We need to fight for America. We need to fight for, not even America, we need to fight for our freedoms. We need to fight for the right to worship the way we want, the right to live free. You know what I mean? Like, we've got people that are willing to do that, but we don't have, we have a lot of people willing to do it. We have a lot of people that are complaining about it not being done. And those people, for some reason, don't want to like make the, financial connection, or they don't want to somehow, people say it all the time. Oh, how can I help? Well, you're not really doing anything. So donating some money would be, a good thing to whatever cause you believe in. It's like, oh, well, I don't want to do that, but is there anything else? It's literally like people don't want to do anything. That's the conclusion I've come to.
Well, I agree, but then people have to stand up for their values. Like you are standing up, I'm standing up.
Right. No, 100%. So now it's a matter of like, so what do we need? Like what do you need, Nathan? What do you need to tell people to like help contribute to what it is you're trying to do, which is basically encouraging men to step up in an effeminate culture and fight for the values that we hold so dearly. Like, what do you need? I mean, obviously we need money. That's the thing that everyone needs.
Well, yeah, you run this, and I think you need to find funding for your cause because
yeah, obviously, but that's the number one thing when people ask, "Oh, how can I help?" It's like, well, you don't make content, you don't really do anything aside from work and go home, so you could give some cash. And it's well, I don't want to do that. That's okay. That's fine. Stop asking how to help then. That I've gotten. I have to get. We have to get. I think we have to get direct. I think that's one of the biggest issues right now as a culture. We tiptoe around what it is exactly what we want and what it is exactly that we need in that moment in time because we think that it's going to trigger or someone's going to think that we're just wanting something. No, literally, I get asked all the time. Oh, that's cool what you're doing. How can I help? Oh, money. Oh, well, I don't want to do that. How else can I help? Well, you literally don't do anything. So I don't know. Go create a group. Go ahead and create an activism club. Go ahead and like join some church community group or something. I don't know. Get involved. But short of that, if you're asking how you can help, funding, cut and dry. Well, but we need to be direct in that way because people don't like people don't like talking about it. Like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. That's not really helping. No, it is. It is.
Well, I applaud you for doing this. I mean, you've created something that there's a lot of young people like you that are paying attention to, big tech censoring, of free speech and how to fight back. And you created a platform that you will reach people, and then of course you need funding. And I would love to help, but financially,
Oh, well, I mean, we're going to be, we've got, speaking of that, okay, real quick, we're going to do a commercial sponsorship break real quick. We're going to do, actually, Nathan, we're going to go ahead and do you. All right. So Nathan here runs Hawaiian Nail Bar in Southlake, Texas. We've got it at the bottom of our screen right there, as you can see. Hawaiian Nail Bar in Southlake. Nathan, how long have you owned this operation?
Yeah, I've been managing this for what? 6 years.
6 years now. So this is over in Southlake, Texas, Hawaiian Nail Bar. Okay, go get your nails done, fellas. Go ahead and pay for your girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever, mom, grandma, sister. Get their nails done. Get a gift card. All that good stuff. Located at 2645 East Southlake Boulevard in Southlake, Texas. The number is right there on the screen if you want to call and schedule an appointment and take a look at these nails. Nathan, my goodness, you guys do some quality work. So that is Hawaiian Nail Bar in Southlake, Texas. Go ahead and check them out. Nathan, that was your sponsorship though. So there's that for you.
Thank you.
Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to do though with this whole thing is finding ways that people like, okay, how can I help? How can I help you? You can let me work on your website. Let me do some advertising. Let me help you in the things that you need help with that I'm already doing.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Then tell our listener what you do. I mean, what's your business?
Yeah. So, okay. So we'll just get into it. The Battery Gang Boyz was it's now a subsidiary or whatever you want to call it of the larger LLC that I've put together, which is the Profit Group LLC. You can find us at goprofits.com or theprofit.group. Both work. Basically, though, I do, I don't even know how long now. 7 or 8 years, I did content creation, ran social media pages, built, websites, did basically all of the nerdy tech stuff that, goes along with website development and social media. The early days of Facebook, back when like the ice bucket challenge was a thing, like that's the kind of content I did. So I did that for a long time, did a lot of like analytics stuff, did a lot of advertising, copywriting, lots of political stuff. So it wasn't super healthy mentally for me, but did that for a long time, gained a lot of skills, learned the ins and outs of, how to manipulate algorithm. I say manipulate, how to just make content that people want to look at. And the more content you make, the more you show up on people's stuff, but on people's feeds. But so I needed a break from that. Took like a year off, worked for Turning Point USA for the last year, just to get a mental break from constantly writing and being on the computer all the time. So did that. Got still stuck in the world of politics. And then, yeah, I sort of I felt called to totally step out in faith and I guess do this on my own and use the gifts and skills that the Lord has blessed me with and the, I guess, education that I've gotten over the last 8 years in all these different fields throughout my professional career. And now I want to use all of that to help people, especially like you, Nathan, who we have a larger goal in mind, which is not just to get wealthy now for the sake of ourselves, but to obviously become wealthy, because as you've said numerous times, you can't bless people and you can't really help people if you're poor. Right?
Correct.
It's
Yeah,
hard.
there's no shame in of course making a living. There's no shame in accumulating wealth. I mean, America is fundamentally a capitalist country. There's no shame in that.
No, that's
And
the name of the game. I mean, you got to, if it ain't making dollars, then it ain't making sense.
nice way to put it. But
Oh,
then again,
it's the old
uh,
hip hop reference in me.
I also believe that, as wealthy people also have a responsibility to take care of the community as well. And
Absolutely, but do you believe that it's done through taxes, forced taxation, though, or is
no,
it
of
through,
course not.
like it's all, see, everything's biblical, everything's scripture. Like you can go back to it, and the Bible talks about that. The Bible talks about how the wealthy are supposed to like we're supposed to care for the meek, we're supposed to care for the hungry, we're supposed to care for widows and orphans.
Yes.
And the way you do that is like you pay for their meals, you clothe them, you give them
Yes.
places to live. It really is that simple. It's, you work hard. The men are called to work hard, bust our butts, make a ton of money, so that way we can be blessings to others. It's that simple. And right now, as a culture and society, men are put down constantly. We are told that we're toxic. We're told that wanting to succeed is secondary to equality or equity or whatever, you want to call it. It's no longer, the cultural focus is no longer building a family and, creating a family and generational wealth for your family to succeed. It is now about some sort of gender, racial equity thing that has nothing to do with, raising kids and bettering yourself. It has everything to do with just like, you're not good enough. And that's essentially the culture that we live in right now.
Yeah, we got to get back to the fundamental, the family unit as a whole. I mean, you got to have a father, you got to have a mother. That's how you raise kids. A single parent is not a great thing. I understand that there's some people that have to go through that, but then we got to get back.
Well, it's not the ideal situation at all. Like that's not, what you want, especially as men. That's not what we should want. That's not what we should strive for. That's a big problem. That's a big problem with the sexualized culture that we have right now, is that everything is, about sex and about getting, it's about that part. And then as soon as that's done, we sort of lose interest, because culturally that's the end game. That's like the pinnacle. The pinnacle is no longer marriage and, big old family and, white picket fence and all that. It's like, how many people can you sleep with?
Yeah, it is quite scary how we've moved away from the traditional values, and then replace it with things that you and I don't even understand, what they are. A lot of young people are very confused uh, of
Oh
what's
yeah.
going on today.
Oh, totally. And it's, they're confused with how they're supposed to act, with their families. They're confused with how they're supposed to act with their friends. There's like people put on different facades now. People put on different masks for COVID, talking about masks. People put on different masks though for whatever situation that they're walking into, and there's very little authenticity. So, but kids are being trained, like kids are being programmed to operate that way, as opposed to like because for a lot of them, they don't know where they stand on anything. A lot of it is just following the
Well,
crowd.
they're lost, and like I said, you are doing something about telling people that we need to get back to the fundamentals of our beliefs, our values, and which is basically like the Constitution. We should uphold the Constitution and not tear it down. Two, we should uphold the family values, that created this great country, which is the family unit, the unit that you and I grew up with. They're very important. Uh, you're lost because those values no longer mean anything to you, and kids have to get back, to the fundamental of everything, the foundation of everything. And of course, uh, religion is very important. You got to have faith, and without faith, this country wouldn't be possible.
So I guess like piggybacking on the faith aspect, and particular, since this is basically like a men's organization, ministry, whatever you want to call it. This is for men. We need to like just the faith aspect is so important, and it's part of the reason why the culture is the way it is right now is because faith is oftentimes led by women or it's initiated by women. And what I mean by that is growing up, it is typically the mother that picks the church, that picks like where you're going to do the whole family raising thing. It's very, at least from my personal experience, it's very oftentimes the woman that picks like where where you live, whose family you're going to be around, all that stuff. Men make radical changes for the women in their life, as opposed, and you know that's a good thing. Change is good. It's good to drop bad habits, but so or very rarely is it that men make drastic changes for God, solely for God. Like there's no woman in the picture at all. There's no one else in the picture except for you and God. Men rarely make that radical change. Uh, and that's what we need to encourage. That's what we need. That's my entire mission now, is to change for God, not for the women. We have a lot of youth groups growing up, and a lot of just churchy youth organizations encourage boys to show up because, oh, hey, there's going to be a lot of chicks there. There's going to be a lot of cute girls. That might work, to get a few people, but as far as like what you're putting in the kid's brain, like what you're putting in the boy's brain, you're teaching them, hey, you need to go to church for the women. You need to go to, go find God for the wife that you get. No, like that'll happen. But you need to go to God for God. You need to go to church because you're actually seeking. You know what I mean? And that's my whole mission with this is we need men to change for God, not boys who change for girls. Does
Well,
that make sense?
yes. Well, I like I said, I really like what you're doing, reaching out to all those younger people out there. I'm a little old, but by telling them that yes, there's more there's more to relationship than just sex,
Absolutely.
or just the physical attraction.
That's important though.
Well, it is. There's nothing wrong. It's human biology. I mean, it's part of it.
I
But
still like hot. Yeah, I still like hot chicks. Let's
well,
not get
good
ahead
for
of
you.
ourselves here.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You tell them that there's nothing wrong with being attractive to a woman or because of her looks. There's
Absolutely.
nothing wrong with that.
It's, no, not at all.
Yeah, but at the same time, you got to understand, why are you in a relationship? If it's just sex only, then you shouldn't be in the
No,
relationship.
not at all. And going a step further, we could even say that so if you're trying to, I guess, date or whatever, you shouldn't be your your walk in faith, your, I guess, pursuit of righteousness shouldn't be swayed one way or the other based on like you wanting to date someone. If you want to date somebody who, like, you should do discernment. You should definitely like go through your own little time of prayer with God and everything to figure out if that's the person that you should be spending time with and that's going to bear fruit. But yeah, like it's uh sex is like the culture has put so much emphasis on sex and on physical attraction, which again, sex is important, but it's definitely not. If you make that the goal, then once you've attained it, what's the point?
Yeah,
You've got
it's
to be
very
going
tough.
we've
It's
got to be
very
going
tough
towards
to
a
create.
similar thing. I think what I was going to say was we currently as a culture right now, like what you were saying with dating and being specific on who you're going to be pursuing or anything like that. The current model of Christian dating is very much a triangle, right? Supposedly you've got God at the top, and then on the two sides you've got the man and the woman, right? And like the church or whoever, whatever disciple person you want to talk to, has people like say, okay, you both are here, but you need to meet in the middle at God, right? That's like sort of what, it's a triangle. When it's not a triangle, Nathan, it's not a triangle. You know why? Because God made Adam, and then from Adam came Eve. It wasn't God made Adam and then God made Eve. It was God made Adam right here, and then from Adam came Eve. So we're here. So it's like holding hands and running to God, or like climbing up the mountain together with God. It's not oh, you're on that side of the mountain and I'm on this side and we're both going to climb it together. The Bible literally like lays it out at the very beginning. Guys are supposed to take the family to church.
Yes. So, like I said, when you enter a relationship, you have to make it work. And to make it work, you have to have more than just sexual attraction. You got to have the foundation of that relationship based on belief in God.
Yeah.
And like I said, uh, if you don't have that foundation, you look at divorces. There's so many people out there. I think it's more than 40% of people, families out there are, the divorce rate is about 40% or more, I believe.
Yeah, I
You
think it's
can,
closer to 50.
yeah. So let's say 50. I think that the lack of faith in a relationship, in a marriage, usually can cause or end up in a divorce easily. Uh, I mean, there's other things involved as well, financial, like I said, sex as well. Uh, there's multiple, things that can contribute to a breakup or a divorce. But the focus is, you got to start out with a strong belief together, as to build a family. You got to have faith.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, and again, my whole thing is just taking it a step further and saying that the faith needs to be it. In particular, the men need to be the one leading. Like the men need to be the ones that
Correct.
are on fire for God. There are so many, and we can get into we honestly need to have like a separate show for Christian dating and Christian
Yeah. Well,
relationships and stuff like that.
you can create one, but
Oh yeah, no,
again,
that it's getting done. It's just a matter of having the time to do it, and then also
yeah. But
wanting
at
to
the same
do.
time, I just want to go back. If you can find, if anyone out there that can find a woman that is strong in faith, that's a plus. But it doesn't
Oh,
have to.
it's super important. Yeah, no, that's not to say that it's not incredibly important. It's just a matter of like your particular relationship with God is so much more important than the person that you're dating. Like that's important. Their relationship, but your relationship with God is so much more valuable and so much more important that if you're not walking right, then it doesn't matter who you're dating. It doesn't matter. Like,
correct. So
what else is going on?
you have to put your foot down when it comes to your belief, and that faith is in the relationship that you want. So you gotta let the other female know that that's what you want. And a lot of men out there, sadly, are very irresponsible, and these men are lost. And you look at how many young men out there are in prisons.
Well, we don't even need to look at the prison stats. We can just look at like the rates of people getting married now. People are getting married at a much older, either at an older age, they're getting married less. A lot of that is just the culture doesn't emphasize, that being a part of your life. We have completely, as a society, pushed faith and everything that has to do with faith to the side, to the back burner, because it's oppressive. It's shameful, whatever buzzword that people want to use to, call your relationship with God something that it isn't. We literally live in a society, though, that doesn't want anything to do with actual genuine relationships with one another.
I know. So another thing is, you should tell all the young people out there, do not have children out of wedlock.
Oh, that's just a monetary issue waiting to happen. I mean, you want to be broke forever? Have kids outside of marriage.
Yeah, so that's one thing. And in order to avoid that, you got to have discipline. You got to have faith that
self-control.
Yes. And discipline is very important. Life is not easy for young people in today's world. No. First, you got to have faith. And with faith, you have to have discipline. The discipline to delay your gratification, whether it's sex, spending money on things that you don't need, investment. I had a meeting the other day with a group of people, and one of the people that was at the meeting was a financial guy. And he told me this, and I wasn't really aware of it until now. Listen to this. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world.
Compound interest? Are we talking finances here? Are we talking investments?
Yes. I'm talking about people making a decision whether they want to save for retirement or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he told me this, and for the life of me, I wish I had someone that told me this long time ago.
Well, that's why, yeah. I mean, I'm the exact same way. So a big part, I mean, that's another reason why we're doing this, is because we need young men in particular to understand finances, and they need to understand exactly what it means to be a good steward with your money, what it means to be a good steward with the gifts that God has given you, whether you're blessed to be a realtor or whether you're, some sort of entertainer. It doesn't matter what God has called you to do. That's the whole thing, though, is we want to equip young men in particular with the skills and the knowledge and the things that they need to be successful. And part of that is being a good steward with your money. It's knowing to invest. First thing I do now is I fill up my IRA for the year and just get that knocked out, because that's just it's.
But look, see, Gary, that's wonderful. How many kids out there your age are doing this?
Well, I'm not, again, I'm almost 30, but yeah, no, it's one of those things that, like, my brother, he had just turned 24 and he's been doing it. He sits down with a financial advisor. People need to take the time to talk with other people who know what they're talking about when it comes to money, when it comes to property, when it comes to, the things that they want. We just need to take the time to ask. And that's what the whole mission behind the Profit Group LLC that I started is to basically be the hub for everyone coming here, watching any kind of content, to figure out, okay, so what's the next step? How can I get to that next level that, that God has for me. Like it's literally, let me be a blessing to you. You just got to let me know how. Like, let me know what you need.
Well, and he told me this. Just listen to this. Compound interest. If you're 18 and you put in $10,000 in a Roth IRA, by the time you're 65, you're a millionaire. Listen to that.
That's maxing out your IRA every year, just the 4,500 every year.
Yes.
Wow.
Just 10,000 in the bank when you're 18. By the time you're 65, in a Roth IRA, you can retire as a millionaire.
Yeah, and the good thing with the Roth IRA, it's only like a 10% withdrawal fee if you pull it out. So it's not like you are super penalized if you ever need that money.
Yeah.
At an earlier time.
Think about it. $10,000 is not a lot if you're willing to save.
It's the difference between paying for college for a year. For a lot of families, it's the difference between paying for college or literally financially investing in your future. Yeah. So we've been hoodwinked and swindled that we are incapable of planning for our own financial futures and like doing it for our kids and ourselves. And instead, we force them to go to college and pay, $30,000 a year to learn about gender studies, and absolutely very little that helps them financially and professionally. If I can, be so far as a journalism major or whatever, who dropped out and got a job as a journalist, I can attest that it's kind of garbaggio unless you're going into a specialized field.
So let's go back and focus on this. So tell your group, the young people out there, have faith, have discipline. When you go through life, and when you enter a relationship, do have faith and do believe in your values. Also be financially responsible. That will get you out of a lot of issues. Just think, if you have a Roth IRA or an investment, you actually become more responsible because you're aware of how money is earned through compound interest. So you won't be wasting money on something else.
No, and just knowing that you have a little bit of money in the bank, no matter what, it's going back to the whole freedom thing. It's freeing. You feel, you feel liberated when you're not.
But also, if you're financially responsible, you're more than likely less reliant on government.
Oh, totally. And that's another issue. But if Uncle Sam's going to, dish out the dollars, then have at it. The whole issue is, my belief is that as long as you're working, then God will continue to bless the hands that are working. So it's just a matter of, that's why I go back to the laziness and the apathy, especially like from conservatives and Christians and everything like that, is like, people don't want to, like, God wants to bless the hands that work. It's just people don't want to work.
Well, so bottom line is, you got to have a foundation in your life as a person. You got to have a foundation. Look, a person needs a foundation. A family needs a foundation. A country needs a foundation. An empire in the past always had a foundation. Think about it. There's a foundation for everything. So what do you want in your life? What kind of foundation you set will determine the outcome.
No, so I mean, going, I guess, straight to America's foundation. Like you said, we were founded on religious freedom,
yes,
freedom of speech,
yes,
the right to pursue happiness, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That was our country's foundation, and that's, in your view, it's going to the wayside. In my view, it's going to the wayside. A lot of it, it's just being trampled on. But what are the actual ramifications of it? I mean, like we've said before, we've seen our rights being stripped away for quite a while. Do we think that there's ever going to be a time, though, where it's, we aren't? No, excuse me. We already are in a time where churches are being shut down and people are told how to worship. Do you think we will ever see a time when Christians, when, people say enough is enough and we're not going to put up with this crap anymore? Do you think that that's going to, are we gone? Are we going to have to
no,
wait for the next generation to
I,
fight that battle for us?
I do not believe that America is lost. I believe that the day of reckoning is coming for the political parties, because people on both sides are sick of politicians telling people one thing but doing another thing.
Well, people are just sick and tired of politics in general. I've got
Yes,
friends and buddies and particularly young content creators who are telling me that they're tired of politics. They're tired of it's a mental drain. It's unhealthy.
it is.
It's taxing people like me in particular, and you and others who create content online. We get so frustrated with the constant what's going to happen. Oh, I wish that the world wouldn't do this. Oh, I wish Trump wouldn't do that. Oh, I wish. 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 Oh, I wish.
Correct. And especially young people, because a lot of young people, they just want to grow up, enjoy life, and not have to pay attention to what our politicians are doing or not doing. You know? And that's what they want. They just want to be left alone. But then again,
yeah, you got stuff.
Go ahead.
Oh, you got some stuff going on in the kitchen over there.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. The background noise. Yeah,
no,
sorry.
It's good. No, sorry, I lost my microphone cut out though. But we've got all these people who do a lot of complaining. Yeah, do a lot of complaining. The people like myself and the people who are out doing the work, we get a little frustrated by all of these people complaining online about, like you said, about whether it's the country falling apart or whether it's, we're losing our values, blah, 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 blah. They don't really care if they're just typing words online and hitting send, because they're looking for likes. They're looking for clout. There are very few people who genuinely care about, I guess, the future of this country in regards to maintaining the freedoms that they believe are at risk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, correct. I believe that young people like you who are turned off by politics, which is reasonable. I mean, I am too.
I'm not necessarily turned off on politics. I'm turned off on people. I'm turned off on people who claim to pay attention to politics and claim to care, but then don't do anything. They sit around and tweet, or they sit around and post things in their little groups, and they in their text circles or whatever. And then
you mean the I call them armchair warriors.
Yeah, the armchair warriors, the keyboard, the keyboard commandos, the folks that post in your little South Lake residence group or whatever, the parents group, all the concerned parents out there that have all of these worries, and they hate the schools that their kids go to, and they hate the culture that's being permeated, and they hate all of the all the things being pushed onto their kids and everything. And yet for some reason, they still send them to the same schools. They still allow them to watch the same content. They're not adults. They live under your roof. You can literally make them do whatever you want. They still put phones in their hands and wonder why the heck that they're being, that they turn out the way that they do. You know what I'm saying? Parents don't instruct their kids at all. They literally just let them operate as little adults and then see what happens, and then wonder why the world is the way it is. Meanwhile, over here getting frustrated because it's okay, well, yeah, you say you're sick of that. Okay, I'll do something about it. Oh, well, turns out they're a little too busy to meet, or turns out that their funds are a little bit tied up in some other home decorating project or some crap that long term doesn't matter, but to them it actually turns out that it does matter. So my issue right now is finding the people who genuinely do want to do something, who genuinely do want to make a difference, not those who particularly just want to say things in a Facebook group and then get some likes. You know, I got off Facebook on, like, I turned it off on my phone or deleted most social media off of my phone because it's full of just people who don't really do anything. It's like that's just that's what it is. That's my frustration though, is I get so flustered by talking to because I talk to people all the time who constantly say how frustrated they are with the political system. They're frustrated with just the way the world is right now, and yet they don't want to actually do anything about it but complain to me.
It is a serious, issue that the people that complain and have take no action how to change, you know, the things that they complain about. So get involved in the school board, the city council, get involved in the community, get involved. Well,
Go
if you don't have
volunteer.
time,
Yeah, go coach a basketball team. Go, organize, go volunteer at your church or something. Go just get involved in the community. You don't have to run for office or anything even. You can just get involved at the lowest level and impact the kid's life there. But the issue is
well,
a lot of people, they're busy. They're busy because they've got to do their little cocktail hours, and they got to do, wine night with the girls and whatever. And particularly men, we want to sit around and watch the game all the time. So I don't know, maybe take a break from that if you don't want to financially contribute to an organization or to, people, creators, groups, whatever you want to call it. If you don't want to help in that regard, then go out and do something. But like, I get frustrated with the constant complaining and the not doing anything. It's not you don't really care about it at that point. I've literally changed my entire life to like answer this call that you gave, which is, men, time to grow up. And yeah, it's a little frustrating to see very little effort being made by people who pretend to care.
look, America is worth fighting for. America is worth saving. And if we don't do anything, I
I
think we're going to
honestly don't
sit.
think I honestly don't think that America is in any trouble at all, because we're gonna go the way that things are going no matter what. Particularly because we live in a weak society and a feminine culture where men don't want, we say America's worth fighting for. Yeah, well, no one wants to fight though. That's the problem. Nobody wants to fight. Nobody wants to get physical. Nobody wants to get, it's oh, well, we can do this peacefully. How many revolutions were done peacefully? Not many. How many, if we're saying that we're losing our freedoms, if we're saying that all of these things are a danger to our country, what are we going to do to fight back? Anything? Are we gonna hope that
Well,
voting changes things?
well, of course, there's a lot of things that I think on that level has to change. But at the same time, we don't condone violence. There's no need for that. We don't wish a civil war. If you're talking about
No,
something, yeah,
no. Honestly, we'd rather everyone just start fearing God, but that
yeah.
might not happen.
But you're right. I mean, there's plenty of room where we can work and make positive changes, and it
It
take
starts at the community level. It just starts out at volunteering. Um,
yeah.
and it starts just getting involved. Find out ways that you can get involved, whether it's like through your school, like local school. A lot of schools need coaches. A lot of like local YMCA organizations need coaches to help out in that regard. Go volunteer and coach a team. Go, get involved with. I guess Boy Scouts is what that's bankrupt now, or that's in some sort of situation where they probably aren't the best. But get involved in some sort of local club or something. I don't know. Take boys hunting or fishing or something, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Get involved. You don't have to run for office and have some sort of
Well, it's just true.
power to make a difference. But like, let's do small things. Let's not. We can encourage people to run for office and that whole thing all we want, but it's like, only one person can win a particular office. We could have everybody going out and volunteering, to clean up the community or to um, do big brothers, big sisters after school with kids. That's something that everyone can do. It's just a matter of taking the time to do it if they actually care about it.
So
Hold on real quick, taking the time to care real quick. We've got to do one more sponsorship. This section, well, I don't know if this section of the show, this segment, whatever. Your Bodyguard, though, is yourbodyguard.com is the sponsor for the end of the show right here. Your Bodyguard is an alcohol-free solution, face wash, body or skin lotion that basically kills all the germs, particularly for COVID right now. So you just put it on your face. It's alcohol-free. It won't make you, red in the face and do all the stuff that I guess alcohol does to face wash, and it gets stuck in your pores and all that. So yourbodyguard.com, go ahead and order yourself a tube, put it on, slap it on your face. Tell people you don't need the mask anymore because you've got the Bodyguard lotion. Okay. Oh, and I guess real quick, Nathan, I did have the website for myself. So this is what I'm doing with that's just marketing solutions, analytics, and data. And then the Profit Network, which is, Battery Gang Boyz is in there. It's just going to be the hub for all the content. And here's just a little about us with that. It's, the Profit Group LLC is a management company focused on taking the extra stuff off of your plate. Our goal is to make it easier to succeed at the things you are good at and actually want to do. We handle the rest. So that's the I guess company mission, about us, whatever. That's what I'm doing on top of this. But we're about at an hour. This is probably a good time to wrap up episode 1. Just for now, I've got a lot of work to do, a lot of, I guess, clients to start working on. But Nathan, we need to, we're going to keep having you on. Obviously, you're an original member of the Battery Gang Boyz, so we need to, keep the dialogue going. But if you can impart one last thing on the young people watching, on everyone watching right now, just what do you want to say to sign off?
Well, it's a tough world out there. I mean, God created the world not to be perfect. So don't ever think that this world is perfect. It is a struggle. And in order to face the struggle, you have to have a foundation. Go back to the fundamentals, the foundation of this country, the foundation of the family. Have faith, have discipline, be financially responsible. Well, be financially responsible by making the right decisions when it comes to spending. Don't have kids out of wedlock. And again, have faith always. That's how you will get through this.
I think faith is probably, without a doubt, the most important aspect of it. Also, remember that faith is an action. So it's not enough just to believe in your brain that something is real. It's not just enough to believe that Jesus is the Son of God. You've got to act on that belief in order to have faith. So go out, act in it.
And be educated. Learn. That's life. Wisdom takes time, but education, you can learn a little here, a little there. Empower yourself with knowledge. And wisdom will come along with that.
Yeah. Seek out the wisdom of others who've been there and done that, so you don't fall through the traps that they had to go through. It's easier to get wisdom from others than to go through and figure out the knowledge yourself by screwing up a whole bunch. I've done that.
Yeah. And again, to all the listeners out there, you are welcome to contact me and Garrett if we can help.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help.
And
first things first.
I would love to come back.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we'll have you on. I guess the next thing to do is for me and you to figure out how to work on your website stuff. But Nathan, thank you for doing episode 1, man. This wouldn't have happened without you having that weird lunch where you told me about your dream and everything. So it all goes back to Prince Lebanese Grill over in Arlington. That's the place.
Okay, that's a great place.
It was. Nathan, again, thank you. This has been episode 1 of the Battery Gang Boys show. I am Garrett Vassell. This is Nathan Tontat. Saying see you later. Good luck out there, and I guess there's some more inauguration stuff to be had. So we'll see you later.
Okay, you take care.